Okay, well, hello, buenas tardes, everybody. It's Profesor Cañedo here, and in this video, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit more about what the class is all about. And lightings are kind of bad in here, and I'm right here recording in my home headquarters. So let's get a little bit more light, and then I'll go and press on. Okay, all right, that's a little bit better. All right, well. You already know what I'm about from the previous video, in which you got a sense of what El Profesor's interests are in terms of teaching, topics, and of course, sports, music, and my fuzzy furry friends. So if if my great Persian London happens to walk by while I'm recording, I'll see if she wants to come in and say hello for a few seconds. All right. Well, all joking aside, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the class. I know some of you have already sent me questions about how the class works with respect to books, assignments, quizzes, discussion boards, all of that fun stuff. So before we get too deep into the semester, and definitely before we get into our spring vacation, let me go ahead and go over everything about the class. So this video will probably run close to about uh, maybe upwards of 20 minutes. A lot of my videos do tend to run quite long, but I try to cover everything as detailed as possible. So any concerns or questions you have about anything, whether it's assignments, quick quizzes, and there's also, of course, the final exam. I try to cover as much as possible in the video. So my recommendation is that before you have any questions, before you send me any questions about anything about the class, look at all my videos first. And of course, the announcements. Chances are your questions or concerns will be addressed in one of those two items. All right, well, let's go ahead and get on with it. And right now, I've got the class actually queued up over here on my MacBook Air. I'm recording right now on my old iMac. I've had this thing now for about 7 years. The performance is a little bit slow, but I'll try to keep it going till the end of the semester, into the summer, and maybe I might go ahead and add more to the Steve Jobs, Tim Cook coffers, and maybe get a desktop. But in the meantime, I think this old machine will still work for the rest of the semester. Okay. Well, right now, what I have with me is I have the class right now. So I think ideally, if you're watching this video, whether it is on your mobile device or 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 your desktop or your laptop, maybe have another device handy so that we can look through the class look through the class together. So right now I do have to my right the class on my MacBook. So we'll go over each point, each item one by one. Well, when you go into the class, and this is what you're seeing, of course, this week and into spring break, is the course homepage. And of course, there's a professor in all his sports glory there at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit watching a Red Wings game. And I'm going to actually be up to Detroit again next month, so the Red Wings should be having no trouble getting to the playoffs. So if there's a home game or two while I'm there, I'll probably go check it out. But I'm going to keep that information up about the class until the end of the spring break week, and when we come back for the second week, then the course entry point will be announcements. So right now you can't see the announcements right off the bat because that's not the course entry point. But coming up the Monday after spring break, then that's when the announcements will be the first thing you see when you log onto the class in Blackboard. And one thing about logging into the class, I don't think the videos show up, that is, if you're seeing the announcements through email. So the best place to see my videos that are where the announcements are in the Blackboard platform itself. So what that means is that when you're looking at Blackboard, it's best to be looking at it through a big desktop computer. Well, the desktops, of course, aren't as big and clunky as they were back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I know because I had a couple of those big jumbo Macs from that era. But again, my point is to see the announcements embedded with the I'm sorry, to see the videos embedded with the announcements. Make sure that you have a real computer, whether it's a desktop or a notebook. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up the syllabus right now. So I'll go through each thing point by point as I scroll down. And so you've already seen the syllabus, of course, already, so I'll just go through things quickly. Okay, there's the information, of course, the CRN number, email, and right now you can contact me through my email this week. That's fine, into spring break, but starting when we come back after spring break, please start using Messages for Professor in Blackboard. That's the best way to reach me, and which you want, if you want a timely response from me, then definitely start using Messages for Professor. This way, everything within the class, whether I'm looking at all of your discussion comments, or downloading all of your assignments, or fixing the quizzes, this way, while I'm in Blackboard, I see your messages. So from now on, start making it a habit right now of using Messages for Professor to contact me. Okay, course attendance policies, email. Basically, my policy is during the school week, Monday through Friday, I try to respond to everybody within a 24-hour time frame. On weekends, might be closer to 48 hours. So if you write to me on a Friday afternoon, chances are you won't hear from me until the following Monday morning. But I do work on the classes sometimes in the weekends, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, so I may get back to you on a Saturday or Sunday. But for sure, if you write to me on a Wednesday night, like at 11:30, I will reply to you on Thursday morning. So again, but make note of that. That is, when you want rapid, surefire response from me within a timely manner, contact me during the weekdays, and I'll get back to you the following day. Okay, textbooks. Let me quickly point out all the textbooks for you, and I have them right here on the floor. Let me pick them up. Excuse me. Okay, so right off the bat, you want to make sure you get the Ancient Mexico text. It's by Jacqueline Lathrop. She's been doing this book for quite a long time. It's a 10th edition. I know this, and I know my Southwestern students who are also using this book as well are definitely concerned about the list price, and I am too. But I've been using this book constantly for the better part of about 5 or 6 years. I'm not going to change anytime soon. So definitely, if you buy the new copies, I'll sell it back at the end of the semester, because I'm going to keep using them, whether it's into this coming summer, or more so in the fall, when I have 2 sections scheduled, 2 more of the 141A class. But you can get the 9th edition. So the 9th edition has more of a black and red and white cover. So if you get the 9th edition, that'll be fine too. Lathrop didn't make too many changes between the 9th and 10th edition. So if you want to save a bit of money and get the 9th edition, that's fine. But please, don't get anything before the 9th edition. There's just too many changes from those earlier editions. So ideally, you want to get the 10th, but if you get the 9th of Ancient Mexico, you'll be in good shape. You'll be in good shape too. So we're on the book right now for this week on the pre-classic period. So make sure you have your copy with you as soon as possible. Definitely have your copy before the second week of the semester. All right. Now, your second book is from my colleague here at Mesa College, Mike Ornelas. Mike's been he's been my advisor, sort of like a mentor figure. So I've known Mike for quite a few years, and he's been working on Between the Conquests for much longer than that, going back to about the mid to earlier 1990s. So this is the 5th edition of his book, Between the Conquests. Mike's got some new articles. He's got articles here about everything from the Puritans, the colonies, the early sense of anti-Mexican, anti-Hispanic sentiment, all the way through to the U.S.-Mexico War, and even some issues going into the early 20th century. But the vast bulk of what Mike has in here from various other authors, David Weber, Antonia Castañeda, I think is excellent. So I've been using Between the Conquests for the past, almost the past 10 years, and I'll keep using this. But when you get the book, please make sure you get the 5th edition. This is the most recent one that Mike came out with back around 2011, 2010, in that time frame. The 4th edition has a yellow copy, but the thing is, Mike made a lot of changes between the 4th and 5th edition. So please don't get the 4th edition. If you do that, you will have a tough time with many of the questions, especially for the discussion topics and the quizzes. So to make sure that you're not missing anything on any of the readings, please get the 5th edition. But you can wait on this. You can hold off on this until after spring break, more so about the 3rd week of the session, coming up into about the 2nd week of April. So if you want to wait until then to get Between the Conquests, that's fine too. But again, my point, everybody, is that you got to get the 5th edition. If you get the 4th or anything earlier than that, you'll really be in a bit of a tough situation for the quizzes and the discussion boards. All right, and last but not least, and fortunately for this one, there are no newer editions or previous editions with changes. It's been constant for the past few years. Get the little book on Christopher Columbus, which we'll be using pretty soon. This book will be the domain mainly of the final exam. So even though won't cover the book too much in terms of quizzes or regular class topics, it will be part of the final exam. So pick up a copy as soon as possible. If you want. Um, you can get this right after you get Ancient Mexico. So, but in other words, the priority is Ancient Mexico first, then this one, and then between the conquests. But definitely make sure you have all three for sure before the midway point of the session. All right, let me move on with the syllabus a little bit more and talk. And I'll go over a few of these things in a more um, rapid fire manner. And then when I get to the assignment section, I'll go over some more of these things in greater detail. Okay, course requirements, a description, the objectives we'll be using, that we'll be checking out, course learning outcomes, plagiarism, academic integrity, all the standard legal terms that, of course, all syllabi have to have. And then accessibility. So if any of you need some assistance in terms of accessibility, please let me know as soon as possible. Okay, let me talk a little bit about the quizzes and the final, and then I'll talk about the assignments in more. And let me take back what I said a bit earlier. I'll go over all these assignments in greater detail. So while I'm finishing with the syllabus, I'll talk about the assignments in that context as well. All right, there's going to be 8 quizzes in here. The first one coming up at the end of the first week, which will carry on through the spring break into the beginning of the second week. And these quizzes cover material from ancient Mexico, between the conquests, but the vast bulk will be taken from all my other items, such as the PowerPoint programs and the articles, PDF files, outlines, things of that nature. So you want to make sure that you keep track of all my items in the learning modules, in addition to the regular readings. Each quiz will be 30 questions. It will be worth 99.9 points because I can't go from 30 to 100, closest being 99.9999, but that's close enough to 100. So roughly speaking, it's literally 100 points each quiz, and the average of your best 7 quizzes, so it's the average score of the best 7 that you do, that goes into your final grade tabulation. So in other words, for your final grade count, don't add up all your quiz scores. I don't take all the total points into account. It's the average score of your best 7. So for example, if you have 7 quizzes that are in the 90s and 1 quiz that's about 75 points, the 75 will be tossed out automatically. So that means that your overall quiz average will be in the 90-point category. All right, final exam is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more of a short essay type of thing. And in fact, already the final exam is already available for you. You can get that in the document section, the assignment section. And the questions there pertain mainly to the Columbus book and between the conquests. So if you want to wait until after spring break or second week to start browsing through what the final exam is all about, that's definitely fine. I noticed in the syllabus I have a bit of a misprint on the on the due date. The due date is actually the last Thursday of the session. So let me go ahead and fix that. That's going to be coming up around the latter part of May. In fact, I can give you the date right now. Thursday, May 21st is the due date for your final exam answers. So I'll just fix up that date that's mistakenly listed on the syllabus. Okay, SLO assignment. What this is you're to interpret some what's called primary documents pertaining to the class. In this case, focusing on the California mission system. So when we come back from after spring break, I'll have a short video in terms of what you have to do. So more details about that coming up after spring break. But that's the first of your 4 main assignments. The second one is called the Ebsco article review assignment, in which you're to review an article from the Ebsco database from the Mesa College Library website. Again, I'll have a preview video about that, but this is your first major writing assignment, which will count as 15% of your class grade. Is going to be due on Friday, May 8th. The book review is also going to be due in May, and in this one, you're to choose a book pertaining to the scope of the class. I already have the assignment worksheet queued up in which there's some There's some book review suggestions on the second page, so check that out as soon as possible. I would say roughly about the fourth or fifth week, start letting me know which book you want to pursue. Make sure, of course, it's a topic within the scope of the class, especially things like the Aztecs, the Maya, the Toltecs. Um, Cortes, the establishment of the Spanish colonial system, and of course onto the U.S.-Mexico War. Any of those topics is fine, and this thing is going to be due on Friday, May 15th. This will count as 20% of your class grade. Okay, I'm sorry, 15% of the class grade. I have a little bit of there's some differences in terms of the numbers with respect to this class and for Southwestern class. So it's 15%. That's the percentage for the book review, and 15% also applies to the U.S.-Mexico War assignment. You're to review articles about the war from the PBS website that coincide with a documentary from 1998. I've got a review video about how to do that, so I'll have that video coming up for you about roughly about the middle part of April. So halfway through the session, there'll be a preview video about how to work on that assignment. So again, for the majority of the assignments, probably not the book review, but everything else, I'll have more preview videos in terms of what you need to do for each of these assignments. And again, all these are due in rapid succession every Friday in the second half of the session, from starting from May 1st with the Mission System SLO to May 22nd with the U.S.-Mexico War assignment. Okay, student participation. I'm splitting up the class into 3 large discussion groups, and each group is going to be responsible for covering one part of the class, or that is roughly one third of 1 week of the class. So in other words, the first group covers the information that we looked at very early on in the session. That is the first week of material. So it's really easy to follow, everybody. So in other words, week 1 we look at the pre-classic period, the Olmecs. Early signs of life in the Valley of Mexico. So week 1, it's a domain of group 1. Week 2 is about the Maya, it's about the Teotihuacan, the classic period. So since that's week 2, group 2 looks at reviews topics in week 2. Week 3 takes us into the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the post-classic period. So surprise, surprise, group 3, you work on week 3. And then when we get to week 4, then we start the process again with group 1. And so forth. And because we have only 8 weeks and 3 groups, I have to make one form, you might say a mega form, in which 2 groups work together. So in other words, if we had 9 weeks of material, I could split this up much easier. Because we're doing 8 weeks, I have to combine two groups into 1 week's discussion. So but don't worry about all of this stuff right now, because I'm going to have another video about how to do your discussion topics, post your forums, things of that nature toward the end of this week. So in fact, coming up on Saturday, before everyone goes off to spring break, I'll have that for you. Here in the class. Okay. Okay, course grading structure, there's the information in terms of what the numbers are. So it's roughly even all the way around. The final counting as 20%, everything else either being 15% or 10%. So no big fluctuations between something counting as 5% and one thing counting as 35-40%. No, I don't really believe it in doing something of that drastic nature. I try to keep everything as compact as possible, and everything weigh within roughly a 10% to 20% domain. One thing about the grades, I'll talk more about this within the session. I use weighted total. What that means is that don't add up all your points and thinking, oh, I got 1,208 points. I'm in an A category. No, I don't do it that way. I do weighted total. I explain what that means in the syllabus, but to give you an illustration, let's say on the let's say on your final exam you scored 90 points. Obviously that's in the A category, but I don't write 90 into Blackboard and say, okay, Blackboard, add up 90 from what Ignacio did here, and that's that's great. No, what I do is I take the 20% of 90. So in other words, instead of getting, say, 90 points, Ignacio gets 18 points. It's the 18 that goes into the final grade tabulation. So you see how that works? I'm taking 20% times 90, and it's 20% times 90 that total of 18, which goes into the final grade tabulation. I do the same process with everything else in the everything else in the class. So, for example, let's take the quiz. Let's say your average quiz score is let's say your average quiz score is 80. I take the 80 times 15%, and I think and if my math's correct, I think that comes out to about 16, 14 or 16, something of that effect. But you get the idea. So in other words, don't add up all your total points. Take the percentage of that item, whether it's 20% to 10%. Take that percentage, multiply that by the total points of that item, whether it's the book reviews, the final exam, and then that percentage that percentage total that comes out, which goes into final grade count. So keep that in mind, everybody. I don't want anybody to get upset at the end and say, "Well, Profesor Cañedo, I got 1,200 points, but I only got a B." No, don't try to do it that way. Don't take the 1,200 and think that's the criteria. No, it's again. It's the percentage of the item that it's worth in the class times the points that you scored on that item. It's that combination which goes into the final grade count. But again, don't worry about all this right now. As we get closer to the end of the session, of course, I'll reiterate this information and clarify any concerns or questions you might have about the grading structure process. Okay, lessons. Everything is spelled out here in the second half of the syllabus in terms of the schedule. So please look through this carefully. Everything is pretty much carved in stone in terms of all the due dates. Whether it's for your discussion forums, whether it's for the quiz time periods, and all the way, of course, to the due dates for the writing assignment. So that's all spelled out in the second half of the syllabus. All right, let's get out of the syllabus and let me start wrapping up this video with a quick browsing of what's left over here on on the course menu. Okay, assignments. Obviously, this is the information in terms of what's in each assignment. I've got assignment worksheets. So again, if you haven't downloaded the assignment worksheets, do that as soon as possible. That tells you everything that you need to know about the criteria about each assignment, what you have to do, what not to do, blah, blah, blah. And for a lot of these assignments, I will have extra videos in which I explain more about what's happening. So those will be coming up in much more detail over these next few weeks. All right, quizzes. Go into this area to take all your quizzes. So it's coming up starting on this Friday. Quiz 1 will be ready. So to take the quiz, go into quizzes, open up quiz 1, and you're good to go, so to speak. All right, discussions. Let me quickly open that up right now. Okay, Q&A form and main forms. You can use either of these two for any questions or concerns you might have. So either Q&A or main, doesn't matter. Your call. Use that for any concerns or questions. But main form is where I'm going to post a lot of other things, especially study guide for the quizzes. So there's already a study guide listed for the for quiz 1, but for the rest of the quizzes, I'm going to post the study guides into the main form. So when I say main form, that's in the discussion board. That's basically the general area in which any issues or things I have to mention to you that I don't post in the announcements, go to the main forum. That's where you find all that information. Introductions. As I'm recording this video, I see that about 21 of you have already posted introductions. Thank you very much. I will definitely get in touch with all of you and say hello toward the end of the week, coming up this first weekend before spring break. And the forums, I'm going again. Coming up on Saturday, the Saturday before spring break, I'll have more details in terms of what you have to do. So don't worry too much about that now. I'll say a lot more about all of this stuff coming up on Saturday. All right, let's leave discussions and let me quickly say a few things about learning modules. These learning modules are, you might say, your go-to places for everything about the weekly topics. So I start each module with what's called an overview essay, in which I talk about the key events, or I explain, well, in this reading, Mike Ornelas talks about this, and Ancient Mexico Lathrop goes over this. The film this week goes into this period, so you want to look out for these points here. These overview essays, I think, are helpful in that they tell you the best way to approach the readings. Now, for the first 3 weeks, it won't be that difficult, but when we get to the 4th week, I'm going to include a lot more of U.S. history-based topics, including things such as the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Andrew Jackson, Jefferson, the usual suspects. Reason being is because this class is technically called U.S. History from a Chicano perspective. I do bring in a lot of elements about regular U.S. history, but I try to combine them and intermix them with, you might say, more traditional Mexican American Chicano-based topics. So a lot of these lecture outlines that I have that are in the the weekly modules go over key aspects of U.S. history. So definitely look out for those. But in the overview essays, I elaborate more in terms of excuse me, the best way to approach each week's readings. And I've got the modules already queued up from this week all the way to the end of the session, the week of May 18th through 22nd. All right, let's see what else I should mention. Okay, web links. Basically, a lot of links to the class already embedded in the learning modules, but this is an area that I just need to clean up and toss out a few redundant, that is extra links. So I'll fix all up during the spring break. But again, in terms of the links, the class outside links, links to National Geographic, Wikipedia. I've got a couple of Wikipedia things. All of those links are usually embedded within the modules themselves. Videos, again, the videos too are also embedded within the module. So if there's anything in the videos that I need you to look at, I will specify in the announcements. Everybody go to the videos and look at this one. But for the most part, all the videos are already embedded within the modules, or the links are in the modules to other areas, especially things like YouTube. All right, chat every Thursday. Starting the second week, we're coming for spring break. We'll have regular chat sessions. So make sure your desktop or your laptop has the latest Java software, so you can go into chat. Apparently, the first 8-week class, the one that just ended, had a bit of a tough time getting into chat, which is a little bit puzzling because the fall semester classes didn't have that much of an issue. So I don't know if it's a server issue with the district, or maybe a bug in Java software, but I didn't get that many responses going into chat in the first 8 weeks. But let's see if that changes for this time. But again, every Thursday, usually from 8 to about 9:15, or sometimes 8:30 to 9:45, I'll be on for 75 minutes in real time on Thursday, in which you can check in, say hello, ask a question, voice any concerns or questions you might have about the class. All right, and then my grades, of course, that's your area, so all your grades will be housed in that section. And with that, I think that covers everything. So I hope this video was helpful in terms of telling you what everything was about. Again, if some things didn't seem clear, especially about the assignments and the discussion boards, again, don't worry. Plenty more videos about all of these things coming up later. Some videos will be ones that I did in the previous 8 weeks, some from the previous couple of years, and others will be newer videos that I'm recording here in the second half of the spring 2015 semester. All right, so that's it for me. That's it from the French Valley World Headquarters, so to speak. I hope you guys are liking the class so far. Keep posting your introductions in the discussion board, and I will say hello to each and every one of you toward the end of this week, coming into the first weekend of spring break. So that's everybody. Take care, and that's it from El Profesor. I'll talk to you guys again very soon.